Hello and welcome to Estuary TV News. On tonight's show, a sneak preview of a landmark reopening this weekend, and we speak to some local filmmakers about their latest project. But first, here's Richard Morris with the news headlines.
Hello, in the headlines today, a decision has been deferred on the potential speed increase for Peaks Parkway, and Immingham in Bloom gets underway with judges visiting the town. A decision to increase the speed limit from 30 to 40 miles per hour on Grimsby's Peaks Parkway has been delayed for another month. North East Lincolnshire Council voted in Cabinet to refer the decision to full council, which doesn't meet again until September. Conservative leader Philip Jackson said full council has already given Cabinet a mandate to make the decision, and they're yet again kicking the can down the road. But Labour councillor Mick Burnett said the decision will still be made within the 6 months initially agreed.
It's the full council who should actually make the decision on the recommendations, and we've done it within the time span, and I don't understand why people are saying it's taken a long time. Those same people voted at the special full council, and we've done everything right, and we'll wait to see what happens at full council.
Are you a centenarian? If so, then the Lord Mayor of Hull is looking for you. As part of the celebrations for the centenary year for the title of Lord Mayor of Hull, there are plans to throw a party for all people who are 100 or are going to be 100 by May next year. On December the 18th, there will be a Christmas celebration for centenarians at Hull's Guildhall. Mary Glue, the Lord Mayor, expressed her desire to get people involved.
Well, look, as the centenary Lord Mayor, I'm hoping that all 100-year-olds would like to join me in that Christmas celebration at the Guildhall, so in Kingston upon Hull. So everybody, I'm putting an appeal to your viewers that everybody who's 100 this year or next year, up to May next year, would like to join me for a Christmas celebration. I went to see a 100-year-old a couple of weeks ago, and I'm just down to see another one in a couple of weeks. So yes, they're asking me already to join in their 100th year celebrations.
There are concerns that people in North East Lincolnshire are seeking out sunbeds that don't meet European safety guidelines so they can get a faster tan. The council's trading standards team has praised local salons for clearing up their act after just 4 out of 50 sunbeds it tested in 2013 to 14 were found not to meet the European standard of 0.3 watts. That's equivalent to the midday sun in the Mediterranean. That's just 8% compared to 88% in 2011. But officers did hear concerning reports that people actively try and find salons with stronger wattage beds and are now urging people to remember that the guidelines are there for a reason and asking people to report facilities that aren't up to date.
Well, we are aware that there is a reputation that non-compliant tubes give a stronger and better tan for the user. Well, we urge sunbed users to be very vigilant in this area and be reminded of the fact that melanoma is the second most common cancer in people aged 20 to 40. So we urge them to be cautious. We urge them to come forward and report incidents to us so that we can take appropriate action.
Today, one of 2 remaining airworthy Lancaster bombers is being reunited with its British counterpart. The Canadian Lancaster bomber set off from Canada with 2 stops along the way. The plane will sit on display at RAF Coningsby until Monday, September 22nd. Immingham welcomed judges from the Royal Horticultural Society today as they represent the region in Britain in Bloom for the first time ever. The town has been entering the contest for just 4 years, winning gold awards for the last 2, and volunteers hope the national judges will give them similar acclaim.
Well, it's a great pride and a great honour to Immingham to be involved in this, and to say that the Immingham in Bloom committee have worked hard to get us to the state we are now, and to be invited for represent the whole of the East Midlands in Britain in Bloom is just phenomenal. Well, it's not just today, actually. I mean, I know the judging is tomorrow and people think that we're just doing it there, but it's a 24/7 thing all through the year. We work throughout the year, not just in the summertime. We're out twice a week watering. As you can see what we've been doing now, it takes us a good 5 hours to actually water these hanging baskets and the barrier baskets, and we do that twice a week, and it's all done by the volunteers of the committee. We're also being honoured with the presence of the chairman of Britain in Bloom, Mr Roger Burnett, so I'm sure that he'll be impressed by what we've got to show.
Unfortunately, that's all we've got time for now. We'll be back with more news soon. Goodbye.
Thanks, Richard. One of our area's most picturesque attractions is set to reopen its doors this weekend. Estuary Hall has elaborate gardens, animals, a clock tower cafe and fantastic sea views. Our reporter Dan Kemp went to visit one of Estuary TV's northernmost outposts.
The iconic Estuary Hall reopens to the public tomorrow. The house has undergone a £2.6 million restoration programme, taking 6 years. The hall, located in Estuary, midway between Bridlington and Flamborough, was built between 1714 and 1720 for the Graham family, who lived there until 1934.
I'm biased because this is what I've been doing for the past 6 years, but I think it's an opportunity to see a beautiful house which we all own. There's no elite family living here. This belongs to all of us. So it's a very proud moment, I think, and a chance for the people of Bridlington in particular and Estuary to feel pride, civic pride in their environment. It's an opportunity for people who don't live in London to come and see some of the finest furniture around in the National Collection. So that's got to be good for Estuary Hall, and it's got to be good for East Yorkshire.
On display are exhibitions including Hull record breaker Amy Johnson and the First World War. The house has been returned to how it would have looked circa 1910 and includes a greater number of rooms on display to the public. The hall also has a newfound interactivity to engage younger visitors.
It's trying to get people to actually experience what it was like here, what it was like to be a servant, what it was like to live here, and what it was like especially to work here. There's many people were in service in the 19th century and before the First World War, and it really allows us to have a little bit of empathy with them and their lives, as well as the grandeur of the staterooms.
The displays include items borrowed from the Victoria and Albert Museum, as well as giving children the chance to get into costume.
If we can engage small children, they are literally our audience of the future, and to engage in history, and history is the reason why we're all here, so yeah, it is important.
We have a coal-fired range which we plan to use for schools activities and for other groups when they come in, and we can make bread and simple things like vegetable soup. It's just learning a little bit more about that link between garden and fresh produce and cooking fresh produce and the way things were done in the past, and just learning how our ancestors lived. It's going to be a tremendously exciting project. When the contractors were in and the house was effectively a building site, there was new things coming up every day that revealed little secrets about life here, like the wear patterns on the stones and pulling open cupboards and finding bits of the original wallpaper behind, or the servants' bells. We found the wires that connected the servants' bells hidden away in a void between some walls. And it's little things like that that really make you feel quite attached to the building and begin to see the building as almost like a living creature.
Dan Kemp, Estuary TV News.
Thanks, Dan. Next on the show, we've got a couple of local movie makers hoping to grace the silver screen. Hugh Richards spoke to Karen Richardson and Pete Warrington about their local project.
I went everywhere with him. I wanted to go everywhere with him. I always wondered what it would be like, you know, when I finally fell in love. It was exactly as I'd hoped it would be. Him so much it hurt. We'd spend hours together, just the two of us, no one else. And then, that awful night, I told him not to be late. I didn't like being on my own. I waited and waited and waited. I was so worried.
I'm with Pete Warrington and Karen Richardson, filmmakers. Karen is the writer and Pete as the director. Karen, just tell me when and where is the premiere of your film and what is it called?
It's called Empty. It's a 10-minute short piece and the premiere is on the 18th of August at the Cleethorpes Camera Club.
And Pete, what's the film about?
It's basically about a woman's desperation to find love, and through that desperation she finds love, but then there's a twist. She, through her desperation, she drives it away as well.
Okay, well, don't spoil the end, but Karen, you wrote this story. Sounds a bit sad.
Yes, it is. I mean, the reason I wrote it, I wanted to push myself as a writer, write something a little bit different that I'd not done before, and make it something that the production company Pete could film. It could be filmed in the area, but it was pushing everybody to do new things, and it is a little bit sad, but it's also, I think, we wanted something that will make people think, that they can watch it, and as the film goes along, it's not quite what everybody thinks. So that's the main reason I've written it.
And Pete, this is a film that, even a 10-minute short, that's a lot of production. How long has it taken you to make this?
The actual shooting was about 5 or 6 days, over a couple of months. It's basically a 4-person cast, with local actress Sarah Beasley taking the lead as the woman, and Peter Lee Crooks as the man, and then a cameo appearance by Karen.
Excellent.
Unfortunately.
And Hitchcockian, get the author in.
And also appearance by Liza Walsh as well, with a few extras, of course. It was shot locally in the surrounding areas. Furthest we went was Great Limber. A lot was shot at Karen's house, actually. It was a very, very low budget film, so it was
a labour of love.
Low budget but high quality. And Karen, I hope you're still scribbling away. What are you working on at the moment?
I'm working on a one-woman show, actually, with a colleague of mine, which we're hoping that if we can get that up and running, showcase it in the area. Hopefully we will take it to the Edinburgh Festival next year.
Finally, just to remind ourselves of the details, that premiere of Empty, the name of this film, is on at Cleethorpes Camera Club on the 18th of August, but available through YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll be looking out for that one. Now, unfortunately, we're nearing the end of the show, but before we do say goodbye, just remember that Dan Kemp's here with us.
How could you forget about me, James?
Well, don't ask me, ask the viewers.
We're now less than 24 hours away from the start of the new football season. Scunthorpe United kick off their League One campaign away at Swindon Town at 3 o'clock, whilst Grimsby Town travel to relegated Bristol Rovers for their first game with a 12:45 kick-off in that one. North Ferriby United make it a trio of our local sides on the road as they travel across the Pennines to Stockport County. Back to Grimsby Town, the new man Craig Clay is looking to get his career back on track at the Mariners. Clay has had a tough time in recent years, which included a period on the sidelines with a double hernia. Still only 22, the midfielder is homing at Grimsby is where his luck changes.
I got released last summer. I signed for York on a 2-year. I started off pretty well, played like the first 8 or 9 games, then for whatever reason the gaffer came to me at the end of January, start of Feb, and said, I think you need to move on to better your career. I suppose it happens in football. Maybe the last year or so has not been the best for me, but hopefully now I can get back on track, get working hard and hopefully break into the team here. I just want to work hard and hopefully when some of the fans over, hopefully they can have a bit of confidence in me, and hopefully as a team and on a personal basis I can just maybe get my career back on track and hopefully we can push on for promotion. I always put 110% in, like I'll always die for the shirt, I'll always work hard. I like a tackle, hopefully I can pop forward and try and get a few goals as well.
Hull FC veteran halfback Richard Horne has announced he will retire from the game. Horne has played 383 games for the Black and Whites and will hang up his boots at the end of the current Super League season. He made his debut for FC at the age of 16 and is now set to take up a coaching role with the club. Unfortunately, that's all the sport we've got for you this time. Back to you, James.
Thanks, Dan. Now, that really is this time all we've got time for, so don't forget that if you've got any news, big or small, good or bad, you can get in touch on Grimsby 315 561, email news@estuary.tv, or get in touch via Facebook or Twitter. Bye for now.